Hey guys, I'm trying to see if we can get this started. It doesn't look like it's working right now. So I'm gonna stop this and we'll try it again. I'm gonna be tying something called snapping shrimp here. So I'm just gonna stop this and start again. Okay, looks like we're good. So, as it says, when you come on, say hi. Let me know where you're from, and if you have any questions about this fly, just let me know. So the one I'm tying up here today is something called snapping shrimp. And this is a pattern I've been tying for some of my saltwater clients for the past couple of years. So I've just got some pink uni thread on there right now. I've got some black, I think that's 3.2 millimeter bead chain. And this stuff is a little bit tricky to find. I actually went to a bunch of different places to try and source it because I was having some trouble getting the black. Silver or gold is fairly easy to find. I had to go online to get some of the solid painted colors. Something I was doing before with this is just buying the silver and then painting the eyes black, which wasn't too bad, but not ideal, that's for sure. And I'm just gonna see if we can maybe fix the zoom on that a little bit. All right, so I've got my pink uni thread on there. I've got my 3.2 millimeter black eyes, and I just set them back a little bit. I just want to make sure that I've got enough room to form like a little tapered head here. Okay, so let's see. Next thing I need, I'm going to take a few strands of this here. This is a little bit tough to see. This is actually yellow Flashabou. And what I do is I just tie that on in behind the eyes. Got maybe 10 strands there. Just going to wrap that into the bend and back up, crossing the eyes here. Just wrap that. Okay, so when I get up to the eyes, I like to come in between the eyes, fix that, and then cross back through the eyes and then back under. So just so long as you get the top covered, as the bottom won't be covered totally, but it should have mostly covered on the bottom, and that will be covered up by the wing anyhow, so it's not too big a deal. So you can save this for your next fly. All I do is I just put it into a pair of hackle pliers, set it aside, and next we're going to flip that up. And I've got either some craft hair or some fox or coyote. I'm using fox for this. Don't need too much, but it's probably a good amount there. Okay, so what I like to do is you got some of these guard hairs on this fox, so I just grasp those and then pull the bottom hair, the under fur, And then I like to line up those tips together. You can see I have the guard hairs on top and the under hairs on the bottom. Then I just throw those up on the hook. And I just like to pull it through under there just to see where that's actually going to sit. And we'll just use a couple loose wraps just to make sure that we got it placed exactly where we want it. And then when it's to our liking, we just throw down some tighter loops. And we'll come in here, trim out the butt ends there, wrap those. Next, I take a strand of pearl crystal flash, and I'm just going to double it over on itself. And then I'll cut that loop in half. And then I'm going to place about the same length as the wing. I'm going to place it right at the side. And I'll pull this across and wind that down onto the other side there. So you've got flash on either side. All right, so next I need to mark this up a little bit. If you have a Tim Hortons in your area or you've got any kind of gift card, these are great just for having a bit of a utility for marking on. I used to use cardboard, but it tends to get lost. This is a nice little tool. So all I'm doing is just giving this fly a little bit of color with Sharpie. If you have Copic markers, you can use those as well. See, that gives fly a nice little bit of color there. Just let that dry. And then I just add a couple legs on there. I'm just using legs from a bass skirt. See if I can find my colors here. Okay, so I've got a bunch of legs, and you can vary that up by using different colors, of course. So this one's just, this is a fish scale marking. They come in a number of different designs. You can have solid colors with flakes, or fish scale, barbed wire, blood splatter, or whatever. Doesn't really matter, because as long as you got some difference in color, the only ones I don't really use are just like solid colors without any flake whatsoever. As you can see, once they get separated, they got a nice kind of striped look to them. All right, so what I do is I take two, and I've cut them just from the main strip. Typically you get about 20 to 22 legs in one of these strips, and if you look on eBay, you can buy them in packs of 10. If you want a link, let me know and I'll add one to the description. So what I do is I just place a leg on each side, and I want it to be fairly long, trailing out behind. And you'll want to wrap right at the end of your head there. Make sure you got those placed correctly. Just a couple wraps, maybe 4 or 5 wraps. What you don't really want to do is wrap it down to the eye, so it's going to add some bulk to your head in the front. And then I just pull these back, the tag ends, and then I'll wrap those down in place. There you go. You just want to kind of cover all the exposed silicone there. We'll finish. There you go. Pretty simple fly. A little bit of head cement. As you can see, I don't have the legs even there, and I'm fine with that. It gives a nice kind of escaping shrimp look. All right, I'm going to tie one more for the stream. Make sure my hook's tightened up this time. All right, so 6/0 pink or tan or orange or whatever color you'd like to use. Just going to put it on a base of thread down to the hook bend and about 2/3 of the way back to the eye. Again, I'm using a 3.2 millimeter bead. And just use a pair of wire cutters just to trim that. I'm going to wrap that using a figure 8. So you just want to make sure that you have it seated on the hook squarely. And then have a look at it from the front just to make sure that it's level on the hook. Then you can start adding tighter thread wraps. So you want to go one way, a little bit of support underneath, wrap it the other way, and then pull it to kind of snug up that thread. If you do this a few times, you should have a pretty secure set of eyes on there. Just give it a little bit of a wiggle. If it wiggles too much, just add a little bit more thread. I tend not to glue my eyes just because if it's too snug, sometimes they can just snap off and you end up with a blind snapping shrimp, which isn't the worst thing. All right, so we've got yellow Flashabou just tied in behind the eye down to the bend. I'm just going to wrap that up the body. I like the look of this with the pink thread underneath and then the yellow body over top. It's a little unique. And just cross those over. Tie off the Flashabou. I'll keep this extra bit just in a pair of hackle pliers. I'll use that on another fly in a few minutes. No, these aren't great. And better. All right, we're just going to use a little bit of fox hair here. Like I said, you can use different hairs or craft fur. Coyote seems to be popular these days. with saltwater flies. Just got a nice natural coloration to it. This is one that I've dyed myself, and it's a little bit hard to tell the color here. The lights aren't awesome, but sort of a tan color, I guess. So I just take the longer guard hairs. I'm just kind of matching them up so that they're all the same length. Turn that upside down so we can tie the wing on. And I can take one piece of crystal flash, fold it over on itself, cut it, and then just wind over. So you've got crystal flash coming out on each side. And I'm going to mark this up with some ink. Just using a gift card here. Just, it's a nice flat surface so I can see everywhere that I've marked. You don't want really like a line. You want to vary it a little bit, but I just use the side of the pen and it marks it up fairly nicely. You just want to make sure you let it dry before you put it back in your fly box. Typically I give my flies 24 hours to cure before I package them or before I put them into a fly box. Just helps different smells evaporate off the fly. Okay, so I've got 2 of these silicone legs. Again, if you want a link to an eBay auction for these, let me know. I'll add one in the description. So we're just going to add these by putting 2 on each side. We want to kind of just rest it on the eyes there. And we're just going to snug it in. A couple thread wraps there. And then we're going to take the tag ends and we'll fold those back under a little bit of tension. Just let those hang off the side. And then just have to clean up the head a little bit. Just try and go for a nice tapered head. Doesn't always work out, but get the general feel for it after you tie a few hundred of these. That looks not too bad. All right, we're going to add a whip finish. Make sure you pull the knot snug. And then I just add a second one for durability. I'm gonna add a little bit of, this is Loon Hardhead cement. So it's just a clear. So gives it a nice shine. I like the Loon brand. I also use Sally Hansen Hard as Nail on some of my patterns. So anyways, here you go. Here's the finished pattern. It's a snapping shrimp. I'll probably do a proper tutorial of it at a later date, but just for a Friday afternoon, I thought I'd share that. Anyways, hope you enjoy it. thanks for watching, and if there's anything you'd like to see me tie on a future live event, let me know in the comments, and see what I can do. All right, thanks for watching.